Hey, I'm John Schaefer, one of the authors of this book right here, the Sailing Rescue Swimmer Handbook. And today I just really want to talk about a couple different things. Most importantly, when do you not have the ability to utilize the rescue swimmer? So what we've incorporated into the handbook is the needs assessment for the rescue swimmer. Really, there's four things that need to happen in order to utilize a rescue swimmer aboard a vessel. First of all, the person has to be trained. They have to be certified as a rescue swimmer. And I think that's really important. That way you're utilizing the base knowledge, a collective knowledge of a lot of different individuals. Professionals have been doing this for a very long time. You don't have to necessarily make up the procedures yourself. You'll understand what those procedures are. The second thing you're going to start needing for the rescue swimmer needs assessment is vessel-specific procedures and practice. So it's one thing to have the procedures that are designed specific for the vessel, but the team has to practice those procedures and understand them. The third thing you're going to need is specific equipment designed for that vessel. Now, we provide suggestions of what that equipment can be. There's specific things that you're going to have. For instance, a halyard locks. Those are very simple to understand. But the other safety equipment that's needed, the personal protection equipment for the rescue swimmer himself, so we don't make a second casualty that's in the water. So that vessel has to have specific equipment set aside for it in order, to successfully try to do a rescue with a rescue swimmer. And then the final thing is a proper team and vessel configuration. You might have the right vessel configured, you might have the right equipment, but you might not have a team that is trained in the procedures for that vessel. So you have to have both the people, you have to have the training, and you have to have the vessel all configured properly in order, to conduct a successful rescue swimmer event off of a boat. Now, we're not saying, and we never have said, that a sailing rescue swimmer should be on every single sailboat. This is really for higher performance sailboats, ones that can create a lot of distance from the MOB, all right, to where you're able to control the boat and turn around. I think many times, a lot of times, boats might not, even in bare poles, slow down to 8 knots. These are the things that we're talking about. But there might be some other situations on a boat that might have a last chance to grab somebody before they're lost for a long time. So the decision-making process we'll go through inside the needs assessment inside Annex B. So Annex B is the needs assessment that'll be used for rescue swimmers. Annex B, which is the rescue swimmer needs assessment, is really broken into a couple different elements. I mean, the first element we're going to talk about is the section 1, which is readiness. The section determines how ready, how much experience, and how capable the crew might be. And there's a standardized form that's included, all right, in section B or in Annex B that the rescue swimmer, as a professional, can fill out to make a determination if there is a need on a vessel or not. So we have a standardized assessment so that any rescue swimmer goes onto a boat will come up with almost the exact same conclusion. So it's not like, well, I think this, or that guy thinks that, or that person thinks that. It's really going to be about, as any rescue swimmer trained will walk onto any single boat and be able to make a recommendation that comes out the same no matter what. All right, based on crew, all right, and then based on the boat. All right, so the first section that you have in Annex B is understanding how to utilize the readiness of the vessel. So it goes through like crew training. All right, so there are very specific things that you need to read. Like, for instance, you get 5 points if 75% of the crew is trained at safety at sea. All right, there you go. All right, so that's what we're talking about, crew training. Then we talk about vessel characteristics, and there's some very specific things. For example, there's 4 points allotted for high-speed winches or powered winches, extra halyards, powered winches, all right, slings, all right, which are going to be important, extra lines for tethers, all right. Those are the things that we're going to be talking about, all right, when it talks to characteristics of what the boat has. Like, for instance, there's 1 point if a vessel only has, only 1 halyard and no spare halyards. So that would probably be a vessel that you would not utilize for rescue swimming. Vessel equipment, you know, a designated rescue swimmer PFD. All right, that's one of the things you're looking for, 5 points. Those are the things we'll be looking at for vessel equipment. Sea state, you're going to be looking at, you know, if there's heavy sea state, calm, or there's different, you know, categories based on vessel readiness when it comes to sea state. And those are the things you're looking at. Now, what we do is for that, you'll score everything up, you'll add everything up, you take an average, and then by the average, you're going to be able to make a recommendation. You know, that's just based on the vessel readiness. Now, the section. Now, the section 2, all right, is based upon risk to the person in the water. All right, so risk in the person in the water is helps you determine whether or not you're going to send someone based on the risk of the person in the water. So you have 5 points if the person is non-responded. I mean, you have to go right away. All right, to where if the person is fully aware and can help themselves, well then of course you may not necessarily need, in many circumstances, a rescue swimmer. All right, the physical condition of the person, they might be getting tired. Again, we have another section on IDR. All right, drowning, make sure you always read and understand, and you brief people on your boats for IDR drowning. That's going to be very important as a rescue swimmer, to be the leader for safety and security. And so these are things you're going to have to note in that assessment. All right, you're going to talk about personal protection equipment. Do you have the personal protection equipment? The proximity to the person and the velocity are also things going to be really important. All right, now finally, ladies and gentlemen, once you have the assessment done on an Excel spreadsheet of paper, it's going to average everything out and give you a score based upon what is the opportunity that you may have on the vessel configured with crew in order to do a rescue swimmer. So as you're going on to different vessels, you'll utilize this assessment, or as people are looking for training to be certified as rescue swimmers for their teams, these are some of the things that, as the expert, all right, the certified rescue sailing swimmer will go through to make the recommendations on what is needed, what is not needed, or if there's going to be an opportunity to put a rescue swimmer on board. And so basically, when you average things out, if you get like a 2.9 in your average and below, probably not going to be the best vessel or the best team, all right, to utilize a rescue swimmer. If you're like between the 3s and the 3.9s, just below 4, you know, you might have some greater risk and lesser control. But when you get into the 5s and the 4s, that's when you're going to be able to control the risks, all right, to utilize a rescue swimmer. So with the book, which is fantastic, and the annexes, you know, as you become certified, you're going to be utilizing this almost every day on your boat because of all the briefings that are in there, standardized. As you go through your programs, and as you go through the assessment, as the expert, the certified rescue swimmer, then you're going to be able to make these recommendations that any other rescue swimmer would come to the same conclusion on. That's the importance of the assessment when it comes into when a rescue swimmer might be utilized on a vessel.